Volume 1, From the Origins to the Arrival of the Phoenicians. Chapter 1, Morocco before Morocco. The sun slowly disappears behind the peaks of the high Atlas Mountains. The final rays of daylight sweep across the rift before fading into the vast Atlantic Ocean. Far to the south, the wind carries grains of sand across the Sahara and continues its endless journey through fertile valleys and rugged plateaus. This land has existed for millions of years, long before humanity, long before kingdoms, and long before history itself. Today we call it Morocco, yet if we travel back through time, that name no longer exists. There are no borders, no cities, no palaces, and no dynasties. There is only a wild and magnificent land shaped by the forces of the earth, a land destined to become one of humanity's greatest crossroads of civilizations. The story of Morocco does not begin with the Idrisids, the Phoenicians, or even the first Amazigh peoples. It begins much earlier, when mountains slowly rose toward the sky and continents silently drifted across the planet over millions of years. Tens of millions of years ago, Africa began its slow movement northward. The African tectonic plate collided with the Eurasian plate, triggering a geological process that would forever shape the landscape of modern Morocco. The High Atlas emerged at the heart of the country. The Middle Atlas formed its lush plateaus. The Anti-Atlas, far older and steeped in geological history, preserved the memory of Earth's earliest ages. To the north, the Rif Mountains became part of the immense mountain system linking Africa and Europe. These mountains would become the silent guardians of Morocco's history. They would shelter communities, feed fertile valleys, and protect civilizations yet to be born. At Morocco's northern edge lies one of the most strategic places on Earth, the Strait of Gibraltar. Today it separates Africa from Europe, yet throughout history it has connected them just as much as it has divided them. Around 6 million years ago, an extraordinary geological event transformed the Mediterranean world. The connection between the Atlantic Ocean and the Mediterranean Sea gradually closed. Much of the Mediterranean basin dried up during what scientists call the Messinian salinity crisis. Vast salt plains and immense canyons replaced the waters where ships now sail every day. Then came one of the most spectacular geological events in the history of our planet, the Zanclean Flood. Atlantic waters broke through Gibraltar once again, pouring into the Mediterranean basin with unimaginable force. In geological terms, it happened remarkably quickly, forever reshaping the landscapes of southern Europe and North Africa. From that moment onward, Morocco occupied one of the most extraordinary positions on the planet. It became the final land of Africa before Europe, and one of the world's great gateways to the Atlantic Ocean. Its destiny had already begun to take shape. Few places on Earth possess such geographical diversity within a single territory. The Mediterranean influences the north with its mild climate and green hills. The Atlantic Ocean moderates temperatures and nourishes fertile plains. The Atlas Mountains collect water that will one day sustain entire civilizations. To the south stretches the Sahara, a reminder that one of the world's greatest deserts lies just beyond the mountains. For millions of years, this diversity allowed life to flourish. Dense forests once covered parts of the land. African lions roamed the plains. Elephants, rhinoceroses, and hippopotamuses inhabited rivers and wetlands. Long before the ancient travelers wrote their accounts of North Africa, this territory was already a thriving natural sanctuary. There is another remarkable characteristic of Morocco's geography. It has never been isolated from the wider world. Morocco simultaneously looks toward Africa, Europe, the Mediterranean, and the Atlantic. It occupies a unique position between worlds. The peoples who would eventually settle here were never destined to live in isolation. They would exchange ideas, technologies, goods, and beliefs with civilizations arriving from every horizon. Long before Phoenician ships appeared on its shores, this land had already been prepared by nature to become a crossroads of humanity. Today, geologists and archaeologists continue to uncover the traces left behind by this immense story. Every mountain range, every valley, and every layer of stone reveals another chapter in the history of the land itself. They remind us of a simple truth. Before the history of a people comes the history of the earth beneath their feet. Morocco was not born with a king or a dynasty. It is the product of millions of years of geological transformations, climatic change, and natural evolution that created the stage upon which humanity would eventually write its own story. Before the first rulers, before the first cities, and before the first legends, There was simply an extraordinary land standing at the meeting point of continents, waiting for the people who would one day give it a soul and a destiny.